Welcome to Totally Naked Movie Reviews, where we strip movies down to their bare essentials and expose all their faults. Today we're going to be looking at the most anticipated movie of the summer, Ghostbusters. So as I said, it was the most anticipated movie of the summer. People have been talking about this for over a year now. Of course, they weren't talking about it because everyone was looking forward to seeing it. Quite the opposite. It garnered a lot of hatred on the internet. A lot of people were upset that they were remaking Ghostbusters altogether, and others were pissed at the gimmick that it was women Ghostbusters this time around. The trailer became one of the most hated videos on YouTube, and so on. But now that I've seen it, now that it's all been said and done, what did I think of it? I liked it. I thought it was okay. A lot of people, when the news came out this Ghostbusters was going to be made, they thought it was going to disrespect the original somehow, and it had nothing but respect for the original. A lot of callbacks to the original movie, like the scene where they're talking to the mayor about the ghost. He's like, we don't want to call it a mass hysteria, and of course that's taken from Bill Murray's line in the original. You had characters like Slimer, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man find their way in this film. You had cameos from Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Annie Potts, and you had a little cameo of the late great Harold Ramis in the form of a bust, like a statue head that looked like him. So like I said, this did have great respect for the original, and at the same time it did some of its own things. An example of this is when they're going out to find a place to set up Ghostbuster headquarters, they go to the original firehouse, and they're all excited, and then the realtor tells them what the rent is, and it's like $2,000 a month or something like that, and they're like, nope, and then they end up in above a Chinese restaurant. I thought that was pretty funny. So, moving on to story-wise. Well, story-wise, it's pretty much just like the original. You have a group of scientists who come together to fight ghosts. In this case, Kristin Wiig's character was working at Columbia University, and she's trying to get tenure, and this whole book pops up about ghost hunting that she did with Melissa McCarthy's character years back. And there's this guy who's trying to get her to go look at this haunted mansion, and she's like, I can't have this. I'm trying to get my tenure. This is going to make me look like a fool. She ends up going to Melissa McCarthy, and there you have Kate McKinnon. They're talking about how they want to find ghosts, and she mentions the mansion, so they go to the mansion, and they encounter the first ghost, and then Kristin Wiig's character gets fired because they posted a YouTube video of her talking about ghosts and how they're real. And then, they decide, well, we've all lost our jobs, because then Kate McKinnon's character, Kate and Melissa McCarthy's character, they also lose their job at the other college that they're working at, and they decide they're going to fight ghosts. And along the way, they team up with Leslie Jones's character, and that's pretty much like the original, where they're starting their business out, and they have to deal with ghosts. There's no Gozer character in this one, except there's a guy who's making these devices to make ghosts appear. He's pulling them out of the spirit world. And he's got this big plan where he's going to make himself a ghost god. So I guess there is a ghoster, and this time around it's a god. And it was a pretty simple story. It's just like the original, opening vortexes and shutting them and whatnot. And let's get on to the comedy. Comedy-wise, what can you expect? You had 4 seasoned comedians, and they did their best, and a lot of funny stuff. I knew I was going to be into this movie when they had the scene where Kristin Wiig, she's at Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon's little science lab, and they're talking about they have this audio recording, and there's some spooky things on it, and they're listening to it, and all of a sudden they hear a fart noise, and they laugh at it, and then Kate McKinnon says, would it make you feel any worse? But I told you it didn't come from the back, but it came from the front. And yeah. That got me into the movie, and throughout the movie, I think Kate McKinnon's character was one of the funniest, but she was kind of hit and miss on some of the stuff she was doing, and the same could be said for like Chris Hemsworth's character. Actually, there's only about 2 funny scenes with him, and then everything else is just, he's a stupid character and we're supposed to laugh at him. And but once again, with all the comedy, hit and miss here, but they didn't just have the four of them. They had a lot of other comedians they brought in, and they had some pretty funny lines. So yeah, I thought the comedy was pretty good. The effects, okay, they're not as good as the original, but they're perfectly fine.